I'm really sorry to have to be the one to tell you this, but size does matter, especially when it comes to talking about apertures. Why? Well, two reasons. Firstly, apertures go from invariably on, let's say, a standard zoom from 2.8 up to f22. The smaller the figure numerically, i.e. the 2.8, the more light is gathered by the lens. In essence, the aperture blades are open into a bigger hole and more light comes through. And that gives us the property of reducing the apparent depth of focus or depth of field. That's what we use to throw people out of focus on a background and to isolate the subject within the composition. Conversely, the bigger the number, the 8s, the 11s, the 16s, the 22, the more depth of field there is, so the more from front to back in the picture is sharper. That might be useful for argument's sake if you're shooting a landscape and you want the rocks in the foreground and the waving fields of wheat all to be sharp. The point being, aperture is a creative control on your camera, and it's something that you should be looking to utilise and to use within your own photography. So not only does it allow you to gather less or more light and get the exposure that you want, but it allows you to create what's sharp within the composition and how deep that depth of field is. Let me give you an example, because one of the sneaky things about depth of field is the fact that it's non-linear. It's actually asymmetric. So if I was to focus on the front edge of this cup and that was my focal point, then you would assume that the same distance in front and the same distance behind would be sharp, and that would grow or collapse depending on the aperture you selected and its given depth of field. Well, unfortunately, all things in photography aren't necessarily logical, because depth of field, as I've already said, is non-linear. Basically what it is, it's a third in front of the focal point and 2/3 behind the focal point that's going to be sharp. And the smaller the number, the f1.8s, the 2s, the f2.8s, the narrower the band that's in focus will be. The larger the number, the 11s, 16s, 22s, the greater that band of focus will be. It's a massively creative tool, something I use quite a lot, and it's as simple as that really. Hope that helps.